Next Level Show.
Hello viewers, welcome to Baraza Media Television. My name is Nyoike and I am the host of the Next Level Show. What is your next level? Today we are excited. Why is that? Because we are at the Montreal Art Center and Museum. Would you like to learn the history of Canada at its authentic way? Look no further. Montreal Art Center and Museum is the place to be. Nevertheless, today we are delighted to have none other than the founder, the owner of Montreal Art Center, who will walk us through how this center was created. Without further ado, please let me invite our guest. Welcome, Alan.
Well, thank you, Jane. It's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm really delighted to be able to tell you the story of our building and the history of it and the connection to Montreal and to art and entertainment. You know, we're a not-for-profit organization, and we support both visual and performing artists. The mandate here is to bring out the best in Montreal painters and sculptors and you know, people that draw anything in visual arts. And then on the other side we have performance artists performing here. We have different venues here where we put on shows, 3 different rooms, and we have bands and we have single performers and pop and music and hip hop and everything, all kinds of different music. So it's all about sharing the community for people who are in arts and entertainment. So it's we've been here for 14 years.
Very good. Thank you, Alan. So before we go deeper into the conversation, first I want to take this opportunity for welcoming Baraza Media Television to showcase this authentic place that you have. Now, could you kindly start by telling us, where were you born? Where did you grow up? Let's start from there, Alan.
Okay, well, it's interesting that you should say that, because that's why I'm so happy that you're here, because I was born in Montreal, and I traveled all over the world, and I found my way back to this neighborhood. When I was a young boy, I was an artist as a young man, and then I was a musician, and I worked in a band which was a rhythm and blues band.
Okay.
And it was in this area. With this area is Little Burgundy and Griffintown. And it's been traditionally for the past 150 years a black neighborhood where it started. The porters from Nova Scotia came to build the railroad. This is the Industrial Revolution of Canada started in Griffintown, Little Burgundy, and the Grand Trunk Railroad and all the railroads started here. And there was immigration came from Europe, from Poland, from the West Indies, and from Ireland, a lot of Irish people. So that's where this whole neighborhood was settled. But there was a lot of black people that came from the Caribbean, mainly, and they worked on the railroad. And they were porters, and they worked on the trains across Canada. And this dates back to the 1850s. So there was a lot of music and a lot of jazz. And all the great clubs in the 1920s. Montreal was a wide open town. There was a lot of music happening, and a lot of the music was rhythm and blues and jazz, and there was famous nightclubs, and it just went on for many, many years. And I played with this band. We were the Skipper Dean and the Fabulous Fascinations, and Skipper is still playing here. He comes and entertains us once in a while. He's an amazing singer, and so I got out of the music, but I stayed connected to the neighborhood. And it's really interesting that we connect. We work closely on occasion with the Union United Church, which is the great church, black church that's right near the Atwater Market.
Right.
And Actually, Nelson Mandela came here.
Oh.
Did you know that? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
He was at that church, yeah. He came here and with Trudeau's father, Justin Trudeau's father,
Yes.
Pierre Elliott Trudeau.
Yes.
So there's always been a very big connection, all right, to the black community, and we've done many shows for them, and we're doing one in the spring with them. So when I decided to open an art center after spending many years in Europe and in business and different travel business and real estate business, I decided I wanted to create an art center. And then the museum thing came a little after, because we've been fortunate to be granted certain gifts we got from the Grevin Museum, some of the statues that were of the Quebec founders. They're very valuable. They were donated to us when they closed the Grevin Museum in 2021.
Yeah.
And we were able to get, so we became really a museum in 2021, but we were an art center, and we have 50 artists in the building. And these artists work out of studio spaces, and they come and go. They're here from 8 in the morning till midnight, and they enjoy the ability to put their art together in this building. And each artist has the right to have an exhibition for 1 week each year. So,
very good.
So
yeah.
It's a fantastic thing for them.
Good. So before we come to that, for the sake of our viewers who are watching here in Canada and in Africa, my question would be, what inspired you to create Montreal Art Center and Museum? And also tell us the story of how it all began, and what was your vision for the center then, and how has it evolved?
Okay,
Yeah.
you ask an interesting question. Things happen sometimes by coincidence, sometimes by accident, but sometimes you inevitably find your way through the maze to get to where you want.
Yeah, that's what we want to know.
I decided that I wanted to open an art center and work less and paint more.
Right.
And for the last 14 years, my wife has been saying, what happened to work less and paint more? Because I'm here 7 days a week, probably, 8 hours to 10 hours a day. It's ridiculous. But
So you are an artist as well?
yes, I'm an artist as well. I've been an artist since
You
I
are a
was...
singer and also an artist?
Well, I think I'm more of an artist than a singer, but I
Okay.
started when I was probably 5, 6 years old. I have a painting upstairs in our kitchen that I did when I was 10, and I have, as you've seen, paintings in the building that I've done in the last few years, but I stopped for 27 years. And the message I could give to anybody who had art, I saw an interesting quote this morning on a website that Pablo Picasso, he had some great sayings. He said, good artists copy, okay, great artists steal, okay? So he had another one that I saw this morning about you can spend your whole lifetime trying again to learn how to paint like a child.
Right.
It's hard to be able to paint like a child. So all children are artists, but they lose it. So I stopped probably at the age of 17, 18, 19, and I stopped for 40 years. But it's like riding a bicycle. If you did it as a kid, you get back on it. So
Definitely.
my advice to visual artists is just don't stop. And if you do, you'll find your way back as an artist. So I was looking to open a place, and I had just spent 10 years in England. And I came back and I wanted to find a place. So I was looking at a place that is now the original horse palace down the street. And a real estate agent told me to go and look at it. He says, if you see something funny there, don't be discouraged, the place is for sale. And I saw a tail of a horse wagging. So I said, what am I doing there? Anyway, that now is the Leo Leonard's Horse Palace, and it's still there, and they built condos all around it. But I didn't get that place, but I got this building, which was behind Lucky Luke's horses. And there was about 15 or 20 horses behind us on the next street, on this street. And those horses now, unfortunately, are going, and there's new condos going up there. So, but we were lucky, because this is a patrimonial building, and it's not protected from the standpoint that it can't be torn down, but it's protected from the standpoint that I bought it. and it won't be torn down.
It's not going to be turned down.
And so we monetize the building. We have a few restaurants downstairs that help with the revenue. And the building was built in 1875 to 1879. It took 5 years to build.
Wow,
It's
1875.
to 1879. It's over 140, 50 years old. What's interesting, we had the COP15 conference here in Montreal at the Palais de Congress last year, and we had people come over here because this building is built in BC fir, Douglas fir, and it's 1% of this wood is left in existence today. It's like the California redwoods. There's nothing left of it. The Notre Dame Church is built with it. It's just a magnificent wood, and it's almost extinct. So the building is a work of art in itself, but it didn't look like this when we moved in. It was a place where they kept electric motors. It was a warehouse, and it was first, the original was Westinghouse was in here, and first the Caledonian Iron Works, and then Westinghouse, then a company called Valdor Electric. So it was always electric motors, and it was a big mess. So as a matter of fact, when I tell this story often when I brought my wife here, and I said, I'm going to make an art center here, and there were bats, not mice, bats. Bats flying downstairs, right?
Right.
So I said, I'm going to make an art center here, and she says, what are you smoking? And that was before Justin Trudeau made it legal, you know, but I'll say, no, I wasn't smoking anything. I just had a vision, and I thought that this would be a great building. It had, as they say, the bones, you know? It had the character, and it had the potential to be brought back to its 18th century glory, which I think, and I hope everyone that comes here agrees, because I think we did it. It's really a special building.
It is.
And we make it better every day, and I keep making new rooms. And I always say, you know, the next room, I said, I'm doing this new room, and it's going to be the best one ever. And then it happens to turn out that it is the best one. So I don't get any criticism about that, because we put our effort in. Now we have to outdo ourselves by every room we do. We have to make it nicer.
So that vision that you had, how has it evolved now?
Well, I'll tell you, you know, the problem you have is when you have, as an artist, when you paint a painting, the two most exciting times is when you start it and when you finish it, okay? But the problem is that when you finish it, that's followed by a little bit of depression, because you've started it, you've done it, then you finished it. So now you're saying, wow, it's over. So you have to find a new challenge. That's what's happening here. So I have to keep going. Fortunately, we have a parking lot that is as big as this building, and we're going to build there, and we are able, due to the zoning of the building, we're able to build 4 floors above this building. So I want to expand the museum with 2 more floors. We're talking about some really interesting ideas, perhaps to do an indigenous museum.
That would be brilliant.
Well, I'll tell you the reason why.
Why?
People don't realize we have, across the street from our building, they're building some condos, but behind that, right on the federal government land, there is an indigenous museum, a cemetery, which is sacred ground. Okay?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, and nobody knows that because they can't build on it because it's protected by the federal government.
That's right.
And my idea is to build an indigenous museum floor above this and be able to take people down there and to be on the perimeter of it and to talk about
That's
the
a
indigenous.
brilliant idea.
And it's because it's just 30 seconds down the street from our building. I believe that that's something that could be a terrific addition to our building. To build, and it's obvious that there's tremendous indigenous art across the country that has been traveling all across the country for many years and seen by people from all over the world. So I think that's one of my ambitions, is to do that, and also to have more other things to help monetize. We are not, we're planning to become a federal charity to have status for tax receipts, but right now we're a not-for-profit. All right? And that could help too, because then we can have some tax deductible donations given by people. But really the only subsidies of any kind that we have is some protection for municipal taxes because there's a not-for-profit. But we do get some contributions, but it's basically been supported by our own ability to generate revenue from the artists and from performing nights and from, so we are able to serve food, and we're able to serve liquor and wine and beer. So this all helps. But it's about taking it to the next level. A new thing we're doing right now is creating a new private members club. And that we're starting in the next few months, where we'll have people that appreciate what we're doing and appreciate art and music, and they'll be able to spend more time here. You have tremendous condos development in this area, and they're all small condos, and they're very expensive, and people are living in small condos. So we have a huge building here, and we have a lot of public rooms, so people can come here. We have 2 film theaters, a small one and one that can show up to 60 people, but we have a little intimate theater that can show 15 people movies, and we have an arrangement with the for non-theatrical production, a showing of movies with Criterion Picks, which is for museums and galleries like ours. So we have 6,500 movies. Wow. Our members will be able to come and see these movies with their friends for free in our theater. So there's a lot of benefits in our new club offer.
Very good.
Yeah. So it's just a question, we have to reinvent ourselves every day and make sure that we keep the lights on.
Very good. And what are some of the biggest challenges you have faced in this as a leader in the art?
Well, if you're speaking of challenges,
yes.
There's many challenges that we have. One, of course, is to operate effectively and to be able to afford the operation of keeping this place going. It's a challenge in itself.
Yes.
You know, the staff that is needed, the expenses, the hydro.
That's correct.
It's a business.
It is, yes.
It's not a business for the sake of being a business. I always tell everybody, I don't mind being a not-for-profit. I mind being a for-loss. Okay, so
true.
Well, I'd be very happy to break even, all right? And we've been subsidizing it. I personally have been subsidizing it for many years. But we're coming to a point now where we're optimistic, and we're very happy that it's coming to a point where it'll even get better, and we're going to add on, you know, to the building and add on in the parking lot.
Yeah.
We've been talking to people about building a hotel or building, you know, apartments or a hotel or a combination of both. We take advantage of having guests. We have a small apartment that people can share as part of our membership in our club, where people can stay in an apartment, their friends and relatives coming to Montreal. So we have a lot of really exciting plans that we're creating, and I follow other art centers and other institutions that I can learn from. A couple of my favorite museums is the Frick Collection in New York, which is an amazing place, which was also a home first, and we made this look like a home. It was never a residential building, but we make it look like a home. A lot of people come in here and they feel that it looks like it's been a home at some time. But it's about the idea of bringing back the 19th century.
Yes.
This building was built in 1875, so why make it look like the white box of the new galleries? We don't want it. We want it to look. What happened was, when you had when the Louvre and you had in France the Salon, what happened was, artists would come and they would have paintings going from the floor to the ceiling.
Okay.
And it's like when you buy toothpaste in the drugstore, you'll see the Crest toothpaste is at your eye level. That's why, because Procter & Gamble's a big company, and they make sure that their toothpaste is at eye level.
Visible, yeah.
So when you were, Louis David, the artist, his paintings were at the eye level, all right? The great artists of the Salon, their paintings were at the eye level. The lesser ones were near the floor, and away 30 feet. If you look in the Louvre, you'll see how high those ceilings are. So some of those paintings up on the ceilings, people saw them, but they weren't important. So, but it was democratic. Everybody came and saw the paintings because you had thousands of paintings.
Right.
So that was the idea of the salon, is that everybody's paintings were seen. Now you go into a museum, you go to Art Basel, you'll see one painting on a wall, and the whole wall is white, and it's the size of this room, and it's got one painting, okay? That's not very democratic. What it is, it's showing a painting that's going to be sold for $5 million
Right.
to the 10 people that are able to come in and buy it.
Yes.
That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to have 500 paintings for people to come in and buy it for $50, for $500.
Fantastic.
So it democratizes art, and it is good for the artists, and it's good for the visitors, because not everybody can buy a painting for $1 million.
No.
And not every artist can sell a painting for $1 million. So it's bringing back the salon. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring back where artists can sell their paintings at reasonable prices.
Right.
And our artists and the buyers can buy them at reasonable prices in an environment where the only thing that they're not getting is one painting on a wall, they're getting 100 paintings to look at. We started a thing called the Emerging Artist Exhibitions. It's, we're doing it 4 times a year.
Yeah.
We're doing one next week. I think it starts this weekend. We have 18, 20 artists that are showing their works.
Right.
And they are able to be special too.
My dear people, please make time to come and see this authentic museum at its best. It's located at Griffinstown, 1844 William Street.
Do it, whereas they wouldn't be able to do it because it needs a place like this to give them that opportunity.
Absolutely. So that means that, so what separates Montreal Art Center and Museum from other similar art centers like
You know,
this?
Jane, that's a very good question. Okay?
Yes.
If you look at the McCourt Museum, and you look at the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts, and you look at the Museum Contemporaire, all those big museums, they're in the business of showing art at fairly high levels. They're there to make an exhibition.
Yes.
There's an exhibition I've been dying to see. I'm going with my wife next week. It's Flemish artists. It ends in a few weeks.
Yes.
It's beautiful paintings from
Yeah.
the period of, I think it's 16th, 17th, 18th century, from the Dutch school, right? They bring in exhibitions from great artists, and these are really big artists, established artists that the world wants to see their works.
Yes.
But who is wanting to see somebody who's living in NDG or in Haute Saint Luc or in Rosemount that's been painting for 3 years that really would love to have his art or her art being shown? Who is taking care of those people? Okay, that's what we do. We bring an audience and a place for emerging new artists
Fantastic.
and professional artists.
Yes, yes.
Both, so that they can have their, an artist that is painting as a hobby artist in Westmount is not going to have their painting shown at the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts. It's not going to happen. It's not their mandate, it's not their business. Those big museums' business is to show the world the greatest art that has been done. And they have curators and they have people that it's their business to decide whose art to show. They're not in the same business as us. Our business is showing the art of everybody that is an artist and wants to be an artist, and let the judgment be from the visitors as to if they like it and if they'll buy it.
Very good. So what is the curatorial process? How do you go about it then?
Well, we have people that in our emerging artist exhibition. Tristan is a fabulous young man who is in charge of that program, and he'll interview the artist and look at the art. And there is a degree of scrutiny. We all obviously have to have a certain level, but it's not the kind of level that you have to be a known and famous artist. That people come in and they're able to have their works in our different exhibitions. We also have, as I mentioned, this is important, that our resident artists,
Yes.
they get a free exhibition, they don't pay for it. Every artist that
Lovely.
rents their space, they get a 1-week exhibition in our different galleries here, mainly at our William Street gallery. So it's a question of, like, we need to monetize the building and monetize the art center.
Yes.
As I said, because we're not funded by any government agency, so we have to come up with different ways of doing it. And it's always a challenge, but we've been managing for 14 years, so I must say that I think we're accomplishing it.
I think I really love that because it means that you're accommodating, the ordinary citizen of Canada.
That's what
If they're talented with
yes,
art,
yes.
this is the place to be.
That's right, that's what we're here for.
Very good. And how do you balance the artistic vision and the business responsibility?
Like I said, I just repeat what I said before. I
Yeah.
don't mind being a not-for-profit, I mind being a for-once. So every day it's a challenge to make sure that what comes in is not going out more. Because if it's going out more, it's coming out of my pocket.
Yes. And what advice would you give to an Imagine art leader?
Well,
Like
okay,
yourself.
Okay, I think that you have to obviously have a passion for art.
Okay.
You know, I've had people that come in here that connect to what we're doing.
Yes.
You yourself, Jen, you've given me a lot of compliments today about how you appreciate and see what we're doing and
Yes.
acknowledge it. You can have people come in here and they just don't get it. They say, why don't you build condos and tear the building down, you know? So I'm saying I get that too.
Yeah.
Because you can, you can have people that appreciate from a cultural and from a standpoint of helping the community. But then you can have other people that say, wow, this building is so magnificent and it
Yes.
should be condos because you're in the biggest condo area in the city, right?
Yeah.
So it's a question of choices. You have to decide what side you're on.
Very true. And what are some of the success stories that you can give us, Anna?
Well, we've had, I'll give you a story. This is an
Go for
interesting
it.
story. Okay?
Yeah.
He might not appreciate what I'm saying. There's an artist, a singer, his name is Clorel. Have you ever heard of him?
Florel?
Clorel. He's from,
Okay.
I think, a black African country. It might have been, I forget, we spoke of different countries. He became very big. He came here and he wanted to do an IP.
Okay.
And he sang here 3 or 4 times in our little bar.
Right.
He's a big star now. He's
Excellent.
all over the world.
Wow.
All over the world, yeah, absolutely. And without getting into too many personal stories, we've had people that come to work here
Right.
as assistants in our administration desk and as working in the office and as volunteers.
Right.
And they've gone on and gotten very big jobs in the art industry.
Yes.
And very big jobs in fundraising.
Yes.
And then we have the other side of that coin where we've had people that are more retired that are coming back, who are looking for things to do to keep busy. So it's a home for people who want that kind of home. It's a place for people who can identify with what we're doing and want to be part of it.
Yes.
There was a great comedian, and only older people, all right, would remember. His name was Groucho Marx.
Okay.
And he had a great line. He said, "I'll never become a member of a club that would have me as a member." Okay.
You're funny too.
Well, no. So this is it. You have to have a passion, all right,
Right.
for what you're doing. If you are committed to something, there has to be a reason. Because if you're committed and you do it, it works. If you're
Yes.
not committed and you do it, you're going to be not happy with your involvement. It has to make sense.
Yes.
And when people ask me how come I spend so much time here and how much I'm driven by making this place work,
Yes.
it's because I believe in it.
Yes. Very good. And my other question would be, so we are at Griffinstown right now.
Yes.
And how have you engaged the community with your,
Well,
with your center?
there's a few related municipal-sponsored organizations. There's a few people that we work with, and there's an association in the area here that we work with. It's something that we continue to do, and we're trying to get the word out and engaging ourselves and getting to be known more by the people, by the new population moving in here. I have another joke I always tell everybody when they ask me, wow, when they come here, they say, this place is amazing, how come I never heard of it? And I say, that's because I'm a marketing genius. I've been doing marketing for half a century, and that's
Yes.
why I'm like the shoemaker without shoes.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
That's the problem. So we are now getting more recognition, but we've been very busy building the place, and
Right.
it is happening by itself. There was a great film called Field of Dreams, if you
Right.
remember. And it was all about a guy who built this baseball field in the middle of a cornfield in Iowa, and his line was, "We'll build the field and they'll come to play." And that's the first thing I was saying here when I started renovating this building. I reminded everybody of that movie with Kevin Costner, The Field of Dreams,
Yes.
because he said, "We'll build a field and they'll come to play." And they are coming to play. They're coming to play more and more than ever, you know.
Yes.
It took us years to fill up the spaces. We only have about 5 or 6 empty spaces right now, and once they're gone, they'll be on a waiting list. One of the places that I modeled this place after was the Torpedo Factory in Alexandria, Virginia, which is a suburb of Washington, D.C., and it caters to Maryland, Virginia, and District of Columbia, and there's about 10 million people there.
Yes.
And this was a munitions plant on the Potomac River. They made torpedoes during the Second World War.
Yes.
And it was taken over by a group of artists, and they have a torpedo in the lobby, you know, just,
Wow.
for display. It's 5 times the size of this building. They have 300 artists there. When I opened, I went there 2 years later. And
Right.
the chairman, the boss, and I went with my wife, and they congratulated me because they said that some of our artists had come to your Montreal Art Center,
Yeah.
and they saw how nice it was, and they said, the guy told us it took him years to get as many artists that I had. Like, it took him 7 years to get the artists I had after 2 years.
Yes.
But what was interesting is that this place has a waiting list now. It takes 2 years to get in it.
Oh.
There's 300 artists, or 150, or 200, I don't remember how many,
Yes.
but you can't get in there now. And when we have this thing full,
So it's
there'll
full
be a
now as we
wait-
speak.
Well, we have maybe 4 or 5 spaces because people come and go.
Okay,
You know?
yes.
But I'm saying, as it catches on more, an artist that comes, and we have some artists here for 7 to 10 years. So as we reach a point, this year I believe we'll reach a point where we'll be full.
Yes.
Or in 2025, then there'll be a waiting list, and it'll be very difficult for an artist to get in here, okay? And, you know, when we build upstairs, I want to build more spaces,
Yes.
you know? So that's the next step, that's my next challenge, is to develop the property and make it bigger and have more space.
Very good. Oh, this is it. This is.
So I did these paintings many years ago, in 1997 and 98, and it's from Tibet, and this is they have a game like a polo, but they chase a handkerchief. It's very crazy, and it's in Lhasa, in the Himalayas, and these took me years to do, 2 or 3 years. And this is David, this is an English artist, David Roberts, and this is in the Middle East, and it's near a place called the Monks of St. Catherine. It's near Sidon. So that he did lithographs. So I did this painting from these lithographs, and this was an elevator shaft, and the city condemned the elevator, which was really not necessarily necessary because these are wood.
Yes.
And it burns slower than steel. But they thought that it wasn't safe to build. The elevator was bringing up 3,000-pound motors for the last 75 years.
Okay.
So go, you know, as they say, fight with City Hall, and you can't. So,
Yeah.
you know, but we made a beautiful gallery.
It's beautiful.
And this
It's
was
beautiful.
a contemporary of Renoir, who was painting with him in a very similar style at the same time in Paris at the turn of the century. And this is a painting I did of Celine Dion, which I did with...
Painting of Celine Dion
Yeah.
by Alan Diamond, the founder, owner of Montreal Art Center and Museum.
Okay.
Okay. Here you have it. Paintings done by the founder and the owner of Montreal Art Center and Museum. Follow your dream, follow your passion. True testament. Now, what advice would you give to the African diaspora that have made Canada their home?
Well, I'll tell you, okay? Everything, like I said, this neighborhood, right? You work in your community, and you work to bring it to others. I went to an event just down the street on Notre Dame, and I said this area is still a lot of black community, and there's an African restaurant, I forget the name of it.
Yes.
And it's from your country.
Here?
Yes, absolutely. It's right on Notre Dame near Atwater. And Skipper was singing there. Okay. And I was called to contend, and I went with a few people. And I discovered this place, and it was a fantastic restaurant, first of all. And it had, it was someone was from Kenya. I think the owner's from Kenya, and my wife is from another African country.
I think it's from Congo.
Yeah.
No.
Montreal.
Right.
Or Montreal West.
So yeah, it's right now. It's right on right on St. Ivory.
Okay.
It was fantastic. So we asked the question. The question is,
Yes.
spread your culture. Spread your culture. Whatever you do. If we just had a fantastic event here where we had clothing from Newfoundland. It was wool, knits and wool stuff, right? And it was an amazing event. We had a big fashion show.
Yes.
And now, Newfoundland is a small part of this country, okay? But they made a big statement with this show here. They brought all this wonderful fashion, and so whatever culture, whether it's the black community in Montreal, whether it's the Chinese, we have a Chinese artist here that is teaching Chinese calligraphy, and he's teaching music, right? So whatever is attached to your culture, bring it out and promote it in your community, and when you're doing that, it's going to spread to other communities, and that's where you're going to get the word out.
Oh, thank you very much. So, what is your parting shot?
What is my parting shot? Oh,
yes.
Well, okay. I will say that it's the kindness of people like you, Jane, who come and want us to tell our story that gets the word out. The thing
speak to the camera right there, so we want them to see you very clearly.
Yes. The thing that is important for us is that if you're seeing this little story about the Montreal Art Center, tell others about it. Share it with other people if it's on going to be on YouTube, because we don't want to be the best kept secret in Griffintown or the best kept secret in Montreal.
Yes.
We want to have people coming here and to enjoy and to see what we have. We can say, and I say this to everybody, let's let the building do the work for us. Does that answer your question?
Beautiful, very well.
And I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to showcase this beautiful, magnificent building that you have. And once again, this is Baraza Media Television. We are at Montreal Art Center and Museum.
1844
William Street. Thank you all. Please subscribe to our channel. We are in all social media platforms. Once again, my name is Jane Nyoike, and I'm the host of the Next Level Show. So see you this weekend at Montreal Art Center and Museum. Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Next Level Show.
Relax.